A good starting point for looking at equity is the constant growth model, or the Gordon model. Here we've got a case where Thomas Brothers is expected to pay a 50-cent per share dividend at the end of the year. The dividend is expected to grow at a constant rate of 7% a year into the foreseeable future. The required rate of return on the stock is 15%. What is the stock's value per share? Now, although this is an infinite number of payments that are going to take place, we can value this. And the Gordon model gives us a fairly simple return. Now, we'll go ahead and put that in and then we'll show you what this is going to look like. What it asks for here is, the Gordon model says, the price of a share of stock should be equal to, in the constant growth environment, the dividend that's expected next year divided by the difference between the required rate of return, R sub S, and that constant growth rate. So when you come in here, it says $6.25 a share would be appropriate. Now, to see what's going on, it may be helpful to look at a timeline. So we'll go ahead and put time in here. And let's go ahead and center these things through. And what we're concerned with is dividends that are yet to happen. So we'll look at the time period 1 into the future, and we'll just add 1 to that to each subsequent period of time that we're going to have here. So if we were to copy this and extend this into time, we can extend this out as far as you would like. Here we'll just do it for a finite number of periods. Once you get out far enough, we're going to be able to see what goes on. And let's look at the dividends in each corresponding period t that we would have. And let me subscript that as we would normally do for the expression for our dividends. And in that case here, the dividend, the very next period, is given up here at 50 cents. Now, for each subsequent period, the dividend is nothing more than 1 plus this growth rate times the prior period's dividend. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in place here, 1 plus the 7% rate, and I'm going to multiply that by the prior dividend. Now, I'd like this to use the same 7% rate because it is a constant growth environment. Since I'm copying column to column, I'll put a dollar sign here in front of the D of the D5 so that I can fix in that rate. So we can see what's happened here is that it goes from 50 cents to 54 cents the second year because of the 7% growth rate. And if I were to copy and paste that in place for each subsequent period, and we're doing this, you can see, for 255 periods that are illustrated here, although it is infinite, that will be certainly far enough. You can see that the growth pattern that's going on here over time has moved that dividend up to a slightly higher amount. If you came out here for 50 years, the dividend's really grown considerably up to $13.76. Out at 100 years, it's up to $405 dividend that year. If you went out to 150 years, you can see that the dividend's $11,944. At 200 years, it's grown again. That's $351,000 dividend. And as far as we've illustrated here, which is all the way out to period 255, even at that point in time, here we've got a dividend that's at a level of $14.5 million. Now, in spite of that pattern that we have, we've said it's only worth $6.25 today. So let's go ahead and calculate this from another standpoint. And what we want to look at here is, suppose I had taken a look at this non-constant, okay, it's a constant growth, but a non-constant dividend that's happening in here, and it valued those instead using our net present value function. So we'll go to our function wizard here, and under financial, I want to scroll down till I see a function called NPV, net present value. What the net present value function wants us to do is to say, well, what is the discount rate that we're using? Okay, R sub S here of 15% in this case. Secondly, what are the values? Well, here what we're going to do is we're going to highlight and just hold your cursor down and work our way all the way through this 255 periods in which it's got a $14.5 million dividend. In spite of that, you can still see it's only worth $6.25 today. So whether you wanted to follow the Gordon model or you simply wanted to observe, let me put these cash flows out there, you're still coming up with the same value. And the key is, while these are growing at a dramatic rate, they're being discounted at a very dramatic rate of 15%. So that once you're getting contributions that are out here very far, they really don't have an impact on the present value, and hence the stock price only at $6.25.